There's absolutely, utterly nothing wrong with us, because there is no wrongness anywhere. We have this blueprint of health within the core of ourselves that we have brought down in our connection with this physical body back to our higher soul being. This really is what the meaning of life is achieving, is taking us down the path to recognizing that there is no negativity, badness, darkness out there. Everything is light.
Dave, welcome to the Ascended Lightworkers podcast. It's so great to have you here with us. How are you doing today?
Hi, Elena. I am so excited to be here. It's a great journey to have got here, really, and to have seen all of the astounding work that you've done to pull all of this together. I'm in awe of you and what you're doing. So it's my privilege to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice of you. So, Dave, you are a life ninja, and you help other people discover and uncover their life's purpose and their soul's purpose. So, I would like to start from your journey. How did you become the life ninja, and what were these key turning moments that propelled you forward in your own path?
Oh, wow. Let's jump straight in, shall we? Let's. I think it's important, Diana. We want to provide sort of key opportunities for the listeners and the viewers of this, really, to take a chance to gain some deep knowledge out of this. So my path. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's not relevant to the viewers and that, what my long path is. But I was dragged screaming and kicking to this point, to the point of being a life ninja. I am the life ninja. It's awesome because I created it, so I get to be the life ninja. And I hope there's going to be many other life ninjas across the world as I work with them and help them to realize their own inner power and that. So I arrived at Life Ninjery. I love to invent words, so please excuse my word usages. I have arrived at Life Ninjery after coming to the end of my spiritual journey. I've done so much spiritual seeking throughout my life that I arrived at a point where I felt that I had nowhere else to go. And this was a deep moment of decision for me. Do I keep pursuing a path into higher levels of spirituality, or do I return to Earth and provide services and help to the people that are here on Earth? And I made the decision to return to Earth. And it was that point, I didn't know how, it was that point really that I started recognizing that I had to use my capabilities to help people to understand that they too can release themselves from the bounds that they've placed themselves in this physical reality that we're in. So that was the start of the Life Ninjery, becoming a Life Ninja, really, in that I then had to kind of work out, what the heck do I do? Like many people, I had been following a life path of being employed, being paid by someone, following along with the crowds to a certain extent. And I come to this point and then, well, what do I do now? And that's when the journey down the life coaching path started. And if anyone has tried creating a Google account or even a Facebook group these days, it's impossible to find a name that you want to use. I spent weeks and weeks and weeks looking for a name, something. I knew it had to be something along the meaning of life. And everything was taken. It was all done, and I thought, now what can I pick that's relevant, that's interesting? And I tried everything, and I was getting into desperation, and life had to be innate meaning of life kind of thing, and then they just start bashing names and ideas into it to see what isn't taken. And ninja wasn't taken. Way. So almost the Life Ninja was born, and then you think, well, hang on now, ninjas have got like swords and they go around killing people, and that's not what I want to portray. I'm about helping people. I'm about sort of empowering them. But as it turned out, when I looked into the history of ninjutsu and ninjas, that's just the media portrayal of them. Ninjas themselves were, in a lot of cases, old shogun warriors, but they had a lot of time when they weren't going around warrioring, so they needed kind of employment, and they were sort of employed as ninjas, which were involved in kind of espionage, really, going in and spying and finding out information about their enemies to have an understanding of what might be coming up in life, So I thought, I can work with this. I can work with this because this is more about discovering information. And by looking deeper again into the intent of ninjutsu, the training of a ninja is about becoming one with their surroundings, one with the planet, because in order to not be noticed while they were off doing their espionage thing, they had to blend in with the surroundings. And I thought, this is perfect. This really is exactly what I want to portray, is being one with our surroundings in life, to be aware of exactly what's happening around us so that we can use it effectively in our own journey, our own development process. So the Life Ninja was born, and it kind of suits me because I like the fun of it. I like to play with it. I like the idea of the ninja and that. So yes, but my ninja won't have a sword ever.
It's definitely unique and something that, like a name that everybody who come across it will remember it.
I love
And
it.
I
It's
think,
great fun.
yeah. So, in one of the videos you made for the Ascended Lightworkers platform, you said, "My purpose in life is to help people find their own purpose. I've spent decades on the journey seeking the meaning of life, and I believe I found it." Now, this is a bold statement, so I got to ask, what is the meaning of life for you, and how people can discover their own life purpose?
Wow, yes, a very bold statement. And I'm making it. I am making it. And I'm not giving the meaning of life for me. I'm giving the meaning of life. That's how bold the statement is. And I have kind of compacted it down to kind of a mantra that I use that I call the Great Ism. So I refer to the meaning of life as the Great Ism, and I'll come back to that in a bit. But the problem that we've got is that the question of what is the meaning of life is so confused. It's so vague that no one has managed to get to a suitable answer for the meaning of life that they were prepared to put their name against and say, this is it. And this is where the great philosophers got lost in the journey. They were trying to discover the meaning of life, of course, but when they looked at the statement, the meaning of life, they first had to decide, well, what does it mean? What are we actually asking? And for any listeners and viewers out there that have come across Douglas Adams and his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, then there's a computer in there called Deep Thought, and they tasked that computer with the job of finding the answer to the meaning, life and everything. And after millennia, the computer came back with the answer 42, which astounded everybody that had been waiting longingly for this answer, because they said, well, what's the point of that answer? It's meaningless. And the computer said, it's not meaningless, you just don't know what the question was that you asked. So then they tasked another computer, and you'll have to read the books to find out about that, with the job of finding out, well, what was the question? And really, this is the problem that has confused us for many centuries, is what actually is the question that we're asking when we ask, what is the meaning of life? Because first we've got to decide what is life. Then we've got to decide what is meant by meaning. And along the journey, people and questioners and seekers have taken the easy way out and then chosen the option of, well, what is meaning in life? And just that subtle change of meaning of life to meaning in life makes a massive difference to the types of answers that you're going to come up with. So that was my first task, is trying to work out what is the question that we're actually asking when we ask what is the meaning of life. And luckily, I had all of the wonderful research and history of the great philosophers and the many authors that have attempted to go down the route of discovering what the question was. So from my computer background, I was able to kind of assimilate all of this information together to actually come up with a meaningful question that made sense. And once we have a meaningful question, then we can look deeper at answering what the answer of that is. I would love to say that it was like, that simple, that easy, but this has been a decades-long unintended journey for me to seek this. I didn't even set my task of finding this answer. I said I was quite happy. I was an IT person, computer programmer. I was happy doing my IT and computer stuff. But I kept getting kicked and poked and nudged into this continual question of, why am I doing this? What is the point of doing this? And I didn't have a choice about it. So getting here now, being a life ninja, being a life coach, I literally did not have a choice about it. It was just driving me too crazy not to do it. So if we want to look deeper into that, then you mentioned purpose as well. Again, what is the purpose of life? What's my purpose in life? What's my life purpose? Then many people, because it's too difficult to answer the question, what is the meaning of life, they choose, well, what's purpose instead? We can determine purpose. Purpose is something that we can achieve potentially, because we can see a target. That's my purpose. Let's go after it. Let's get it. And that really is the kind of modern Western materialistic approach to life at the moment, is how can I achieve it? How can I get it? How can I win? How can I succeed? So definitely then I had to start questioning life purpose. And it was, well, what is my life purpose? Then I had to start thinking, other people use the term soul purpose. What's my soul purpose? So it was a journey along deep into those pathways to decide, well, which one? What is it I'm doing? What is it, this message that I'm being given? What is it, this purpose that's been driving me forward to attempt to kind of create this life coaching stage of my life? And I had to break that down into many different stages of what life purpose means for me, what life purpose means for you and for everybody. How does that fit into the meaning of life as the underlying foundation for everything that happens? And are there any exceptions? Because if there are any exceptions, then my proposal of the meaning of life as a conclusive answer is wrong, because there cannot be an exception. So I think in science they say that the simplest answer is the correct one, and in science they attempt to reduce the question down to the most simplest form that can answer, the entirety of any questions and exceptions. Unfortunately, they keep coming across exceptions in science, and they say, that's an exception, we don't need to deal with that just now. So I believe that I have put the time and effort in to reduce the question of life down, the meaning of life down to the conclusive answer that includes everything. But the key point here is that it's not for me. I haven't set out on a journey to do this. I'm not an academic. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a lay person that thought I was here living my life, but seemed to be pushed in this direction. So why even bother? Why even bother introducing this idea? Why, let people go on with their muddled confusion. And I can't. I just can't. It is something that needs to come out, whether people follow it, whether people agree to it, whether they accept it or not. At the end of the day, it is fairly irrelevant to me, but at least there will be a conclusive answer out there that people can use to empower their lives in every moment, and to give them a clear North Star, if you know that term, about where they're heading in not only life, but where their soul purpose is taking them. And they'll then find that while they work towards this great ism, and an ism, the definition of an ism is a clearly defined practice, strategy, or philosophy. So, unlike hitchhikers, the answer being 42, the conclusive answer to the meaning of life cannot be a thing. If it was a thing, then we could just grasp it, and like the Holy Grail, we could own it, and that would be it. One person would have it. It can't be. It has to be a practice and a process and a philosophy that we are applying actively in our life. That's not correct. It is being applied actively in our life. Our job is to work in alignment with it, so that we gain the most from that practice and that strategy, that we're not dissipating our energy on things that are meaningless to us, but we are using it in a way that empowers us forward in every step and every way. So when we come across these fears and anxieties and desperation and irritations in life, we can go back to the great ism, and we can say, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening for me. So although it is a conclusive answer for everyone, it is applicable to every individual personally, where they are on their individual life path. And each one of us has an individual life path, our life purpose for being here. We have an overarching life purpose, which may be constructed of lots of little purposes along the way, but our overarching life purpose is to accomplish a certain task or series of tasks while we are here in this physical reality life of ours. So we've said, wouldn't it be great if we had a book that told us how to live life? And that's always played with me, that's always been something that's bounced around in my head. The idea of utopian society, it's always something that has constantly been rattling around inside me, saying, well, let's just design it. And you cannot design it because it has to come down to the individual. The individual is here to achieve a certain task or tasks that they have set themselves for this physical life reality. And the meaning of life is to understand and recognize that and to empower that forward so that we can use it in this muddled, chaotic state of life that we've got. So I'm taking up far too much time there. Sorry about that.
I think it was a long journey to come to the realization that the meaning of life is basically for everyone to realize that everybody has a unique soul purpose, which is a collection of tasks or lessons that each one has to complete in this lifetime, right? So I think that's why it's like a really complicated topic for people, and it's like hard to grasp, because in the end everybody's life purpose is different, so we cannot say it's one thing or the other thing. Am I getting it correct?
For their life purpose, absolutely. Everyone has their specific individual journeys that they have set themselves on in this life. But the conclusive, overarching meaning of life encompasses all of those individual journeys in a way that allows people to empower themselves forward in the I won't call it, it's not difficult when we get an opportunity to sit and discuss in depth the meaning, the conclusive answer to the meaning of life. Then we'll see that they're not difficult. There is no difficult challenges in life. Each one of them are opportunities for us because they are empowering us in the overarching meaning of life. So I'm going much more in depth into it in the book that I'm writing, and because it's not enough to say this is the meaning of life. That would be like a deep thought saying here's the answer 42. I also have to give strategies and practices for how to make that work for the individual, because otherwise what's the point? It'll just be thrown out as, oh yeah, it's just a general idea, okay, it's a nice idea. How do I make use of it in my daily stages, each step of every day that I'm taking towards my own life purpose? How do I make that meaning of life work for me? So that's the task now, is breaking that down into particular strategies that everyone can apply individually at every moment in their day to take them forward. So that's the task that I've got and set myself now to put together. And I think the best way of doing that, other than working directly with someone, is to put it down in written form and see where that goes. I have no idea where that's going, so we shall see.
So basically discovering someone's purpose, it's quite a huge task, right? So most of the people, they go through their life, they have like their job, their everyday life, their routines, etc. So they might not have time to think about it even. What would you say to those people about what's in the other side of finding your life purpose? So what's the goal in actually knowing why people come here, and what is the direction or the lessons that they have to learn about themselves or life?
That's a difficult question, because it depends on their level of awakening, their level of understanding, their level of awareness of their life. So if we take, say, myself, that was encompassed within the daily job, the normal 9 to 5 routine, I could mention some of my workmates, but I won't, who have literally, the life is football and beer, and that's it. What's the point to them? And the good news is that there's no point to them. They are living a certain awareness in this particular physical life journey that they're taking. Now, I can't say what another person's life purpose was, because their life purpose, the life journey that they are taking, is determined by their past history. So every one of us has set ourselves the task when we came here in this physical life reality to achieve something. Now, that achievement could purely be the fun for the hell of doing it. That's it, I'm just going to have a blast. I mean, this time through, I'm just going to just do nothing. That is the entire point and purpose of this time through. And there's no way that we can affect them, because they are achieving their life purpose in watching football and drinking beer. That could well be the pinnacle of their achievement that they wanted this time through this journey. Whether that's because they are first-timers here and they just don't know what to expect, so they've set themselves low standards. It's even I can't even say low standards, because the experience that they're gaining is deep and intense. They are embodying what they are here to embody by, I don't wish to pick on all, the beer drinkers and the football watchers. I don't wish to, but whatever experience it is that these people are embodied deeply within, they could be achieving that life purpose 100% of the way. And similarly, it's a question that came up in another forum that I was in recently, about good, healthy living. Because if we have good, healthy living, then we live longer and we supposedly gain more satisfaction. And the question was, how long are you supposed to live? When we came to this physical reality experience, we set ourselves up with the conditions that we wanted to achieve whatever life purpose that we had to be here for. We chose the conditions that would give us a certain way of living. And that might mean that life is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50, 60, 100, whatever it might be. We're not here to determine the length of someone's life. It's their choice in their situation and their circumstances. So I apologize to all beer drinker football watchers, those the people that are harming their physical body. For those of us that have a greater sense of need to achieve something in this physical life, we look at them and say, you're destroying yourself. We cannot make that judgment against other people. We must not make that judgment against them, because we do not know and will never know what their purpose was in coming here in the first place. I live and work a lot around drug users and alcohol abusers and that. And that might be the journey that they chose for their experience here. Again, I was asked a number of years ago about doing something, and someone said to me, you might go to jail for that. I said, well, I haven't experienced jail. Maybe I need to experience going to jail. I don't know. If I'm in connection with my intuition, with my life purpose, with my inner being, it will direct me, if I'm listening, as to which paths to take and what experiences I've set myself up in there. So if you are going through your daily life to ask you, to answer your question, then the best you don't need to spend time on it. You just need to listen. And I think we'll come to it a bit later in looking at some of the offerings and tools that I've put together. Is our task then is just to intercept what's happening and just to allow ourselves the space to ask, does this feel right? Does it feel right that this is what I'm supposed to be doing here? And if it does, then they don't need to spend any time. It's a momentary question, that they can ask themselves on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Does it still feel right that what I'm doing is within my entire being? If I can discover my being within my entire being, does it feel that I'm on the right path to doing this? Unfortunately, the people caught up in those daily routines where they are too busy to do these practices, to take on any new practices, to take on any new thinking or any new learning, those are the ones that are most likely not to be in touch with the intuition of their being. And thankfully, in our standard materialistic society that we are that we are sort of going through at the moment, which seems to be coming to an end, the way of doing that is by paying and buying services. And that is the approach that our society is. That is our meaning of life as a society at the moment, is to go and buy it, to go and buy the solution. And you don't need to do that because the solution and the answer is within you. But we don't know how to do it because since our time of birth, we have been trained that the only way to get what we want is by going and buying and paying for it. So we kind of have to work with that. We have to work with this way that society is constructed at the moment and help people see that, yes, that's why I have to charge as my services as a life coach, because that is how we present things at the moment, but that's not the answer. The answer is to look inside. But we don't know how to look inside because our entire life's training has been to look externally for the answers. So the easy answer is buy something small. Buy something that you can fit into your life. Buy a little interrupt that helps you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis just to start getting in touch with who your being really is.
So the advice, I get that you give to people who want to, let's say, break free from their routines or start asking themselves the question, okay, what am I here to do? What is my life's purpose, etc. It's of course to start working with ourselves, right? Start doing things differently, or start getting new information, or asking new questions in order to uncover basically all these truths about ourselves that are hidden in our everyday life. We are not in touch with them, so we need to find a way to get in touch with what's happening in a deeper level inside of us. And through your journey you have come to offer something that it's called the Holistic Wellness Blueprint. Would you like to talk to us more about it?
Thank you. It's such an important point. If I can kind of touch again briefly on the last question as well, the difficulty that we've got is that the majority of people are living under fear. Because we haven't been taught how to step out on our own, how to be an individual, how to stand up for our own intents, our own life purpose, then every time we try and step into that, we get this horrible feeling of stepping into a chaotic realm, because suddenly there's no one there to guide us. And this holistic wellness blueprint really came about from my deep work with breathwork. And the breathwork principle is that we have an inner guiding intelligence. So certainly in the breathwork that I run, we have an inner guiding intelligence, which I expanded upon in kind of reference to the meaning of life and our soul purpose, to this holistic wellness blueprint. And this helps us to overcome that fear that is within us in stepping forward. What we have, we are completely healthy beings. And we don't have the time here to go into the discussion between beings and doings and that. But as soul beings, as light beings, we are perfectly healthy. There's absolutely, utterly nothing wrong with us, because there is no wrongness anywhere. So whatever it is our being is, it's perfect and it's healthy. And we have this blueprint of health within the core of ourselves that we have brought down in our connection with this physical body back to our higher soul being. And this is what I call the holistic wellness blueprint. So holisticism is obviously the inclusion of everything. Well, wellness, you wouldn't want sickness blueprint, would you? So it kind of goes without saying that it's a wellness blueprint, because that's what we want to return to. And I said, there is no sickness. This blueprint is whole because it encompasses everything that there is about our being, what we silly humans call good and bad, positive and negative, all the duality aspects of it. They don't exist. In our blueprint, they don't exist. And this really is what the meaning of life is achieving, is taking us down the path to recognizing that there is no negativity, badness, darkness out there. Everything is light. And brings us to the topic of Lightworkers, of course. But so this blueprint is there. But as soon as we are born here in this physical reality, we are immediately others start covering that blueprint over with veils that prevent us from connecting deeply with it. And we all know that our best connection to our soul self is when we are children. Up until about the age of 4 or 5, we have got the greatest connection back to what our being was before we were born. This is because we haven't got the severity of these veils that have been placed upon that wholeness blueprint. So our task now is to get rid of all of those veils. That blueprint exists there. That blueprint is doing its best to provide us with the best empowered, enlightened experience that we can have here. But like the philosophers in the past that got distracted in terminology and language over the meaning of life, we get distracted and we get sidelined over our purpose here, because there's so much richness of experience. And we get born into a society that has their own ideas and ideals that they have constructed over decades and millennia of how they want to construct that society. And that's fine, but that takes us into a much bigger discussion then about containers and labels and countries and borders and religion and all of that, and why that exists and why that's important to us and why it's important to go through those stages. But because of fear, we try and keep everyone contained within these ideals that we've kind of constructed, that we've spent so much time constructing, that we don't want to allow them to be free. It's like letting our children be free when they become of age. We don't want to let them do that, and there's many parents that don't let them do that. And yet, this blueprint, by connecting back to it, we can see that we are a whole being. We do not need to keep the fear associated with these bonds that are preventing us from achieving the full life purpose that we set ourselves the intent to come here to achieve. So that's my purpose at the moment, is to try and help people remove those veils and find their own blueprint, and to step with empowerment into their life purpose. So that's what the blueprint is all about. We all have one. It's a beautiful, beautiful. Again, there's not enough time here to go into the languaging. Language is such an important aspect. Language is our manifestation tool. Without language, nothing would exist. We create through language, and some wonderful, talented beings get to create through the language of music and the language of art and visual representation. But that's our superpower. That's our ninja power. This ability to manifest anything that we can think of. It's astounding. It's such an incredible opportunity that we've got here in this life. It is totally mind blowing. This crazy, stupid little brain thing that we've got just cannot comprehend the power that we've got. So that's what the blueprint does. It tells us we are beautiful beings.
But I agree with you that in the end we are powerful creators, and whatever we put in our mind, it starts with the thoughts, but then these thoughts are so powerful that basically they bend reality. So we think of something, and then things unfold and we take actions, and then after a while, whatever we have in our mind as a thought, we see it in our physical world, like being a thing and being manifested. I think indeed it's like a superpower that we have as humans. So so you've put together a collection of pragmatic tools for people who want to discover their life purpose and also get in touch with this holistic wellness blueprint that, as you say, it's already built in within us. Everybody has it, and then we need to reconnect with it, basically. So in the things that you offer, you offer, of course, like the life coaching, breathwork sessions, the Ninja Lifebook, and the Ninja PQ Brain Training Program. So would you like to walk us through these programs and what each one of it is and how they're interconnected with each other, like what every one of those offer to people who want to embark in this journey?
Yeah, certainly, Alina. Thank you very much. I spent a lot of focus and time on bringing together a set of tools that I felt were that core set that would allow people to step forward. We know there are thousands. I mean, I'm a member, a practicing member of the Complementary Medical Association, and literally within Complementary Medicine, there are thousands of different opportunities for complementary medicine. So this was one of the core issues that I had in developing my life coaching, is that there's so much opportunity already out there. I didn't want to just add more. I didn't want to create another modality. I didn't want to create another practice. I didn't want to create another thing to add to the confusion that's already out there. And when I say that I didn't want to, I couldn't. I was made not to, by my own life energy and my own guiding intuition. Every time I attempted to do it, it just wouldn't work for me, and it felt wrong for me to be doing that. So I started then looking at what is already out there, and how can we make use of what's already out there that others have spent decades putting together. For me, I'm not a spring chicken. I could create my own path and progress towards the meaning of life and becoming a life ninja. It might take me a decade or two to put that together, in the complexity and the detail that others have already done and spent their life dedicated to doing. It didn't make sense to me, and my energies wouldn't allow me to go down that route. So the first answer that I was given is, when I asked the question, what do I do now, is to train as a life coach. That is the path that I was set on. I know very little about life coaching. It's not something that is prominent here in the UK, and a friend of mine got involved in it a couple of decades ago. I had to go to America to do some training for it. So it was, as far as I was aware, it didn't really exist here in the UK, but I was given this push to become a life coach as the way forward in attempting to help and deliver people. And we've heard the journey of why it ended up as a life ninja and that. So that's where I was heading. And then along that path, I started attracting the tools that were necessary for me to help people in a very precise and specific way to make sense of their own life journey. And although this isn't how it fits together in the way that I deliver it now, the way that it was attracted to me, first of all, was to come across the Lifebook system from John and Missy Butcher, who are now part of the Mind Valley platform. And I was given the gift of Lifebook. So I went through the 6-7 week process of constructing my Lifebook, which is literally taking your it's a very holistic practice. It takes the entirety of your life, including your mental, physical, emotional and spiritual aspects, breaks them down into 12 different elements, and then throughout the Lifebook process you spend intensely deep time investigating and discovering those 12 elements of your own life and how they are working for you, how they are coming up in your life, whether there are weak areas or strong areas, or whether there are areas that are overburdening, that you're spending too much time in and you're neglecting others. But it also, the Lifebook process shows how these 12 areas, like the face of a clock, are interweaved in with one another. So for many of us, we think, okay, we've got to be healthy, we go to the gym, and we spend, I don't know, 3 hours a night going to the gym or whatever it is, as some of these people do. But through the Lifebook process, we realize that actually that is affecting our family life or our social life. It may have an impact on our social life because it may be expanding our social life, depending on what your social life was like before you went to the gym. But it's having an impact on your family time. It's having an impact on your spiritual time. So the Lifebook process shows how these all pull on one another, and they help you to identify those areas of your life that are not working for you or are overworking for you, and to bring your life back in balance. So I loved every moment of that process, and I think I saw on an earlier video with you that you had a Lifebook in the background. I can't see it now, but you had a Lifebook in the background. So I believe you've been through the Lifebook process as well.
Yeah, it's true. I have it next to me, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It becomes the book that we turn to when we discuss with family and friends, oh, what are you doing next? What are you doing? Well, here it is. Here's my life. I've written my life. I've imbued it with energy and color and love and everything that I want my life to include is here in my life book. And that shows me the path that I'm taking. I could see that North Star because I can see those areas that are weakest within me that I need to work on. And that's where I'm putting my effort into developing, in going forward. So that Lifebook was given to me, and I am eternally grateful to John and Missy Butcher for creating that system. And it's such an incredible system that I went then and trained as a Lifebook leader so that I could deliver Lifebook programs myself. And there's some interesting things happening in the world of Lifebook at the moment, which not for this podcast. So that was the first element that came together, because that showed me how my life fitted together and which other elements then I needed to focus on in trying to construct and fulfill my life purpose. So then the next one that came along was breathwork. I was attending an expanded consciousness summit. That was it was a 2-week summit, and I was introduced to a very specific type of breathwork, which is called neurodynamic breathwork, through that summit. And again, there's so many breathwork offerings out there. Most people, or many people, will be familiar with the more famous Wim Hof methods that involve jumping into very cold baths and water. And I've got workmates that do that, and they love it. But the breath then is about controlling your physical reactions to the stimuli and that. What attracted me to the neurodynamic breathwork as a modality for breathwork? First of all, it has very clear awareness of medical contraindications that might be in place for anyone that's coming forward to do a breathwork session. That for me was important, because it is looking at the individual and where they are in life before they take on the idealized experience of breathwork to go and connect with higher consciousness and have these wild out-of-body experiences that is promoted as part of breathwork. That has to be based in, where are you in life? You know, if you're going to go to the gym, you don't go to the gym and start lifting, 500-pound weights straight away. You're going to harm yourself. Similarly with breathwork, where are you in life? You don't just go and have these these life-changing experiences, because do you want to change your life? You've got to ask a question first. Am I doing it because I want to destroy everything that exists in my life? And very, very, very few people are in a position where that is the intent of their breathwork and altered states journeys. So for me, the neurodynamic breathwork, which I call ninja positive breathwork, because I've added certain elements into it that I felt were even more empowering on this journey towards the meaning of life and answering it, is the ninja positive breathwork. It's non-directive. Other breathworks take you through a guided process. Ninja positive breathwork, you are your self-empowered guide on the journey. I do not know what you need on your life path that you need to be made aware of, what experience you need right now to bring you deeper into connection with that. Only you know that. So this breathwork process is about connecting with you, with your deeper holistic blueprint and listening to it. So it's non-directive. It's all about empowerment. It's about giving us the empowerment to step forward into our lives, of course, and release these veils that I call them, the unconscious blockages that we have placed upon us, and our society has placed on ourselves, and to release them. And more importantly for me than anything, again, because of the way that I'm sort of being pushed in my own journey, is it had to be organic. It doesn't use or rely on any additional substances. It is purely your true deep connection with yourself. And that organic element for me in the Ninja Positive Breathwork was so, so important. Because how can we establish self-empowerment if we're doing it via the use of a substance that we then have to rely on to give us that self-empowerment? So, and I know many people have gained life-changing awarenesses through the use of many holotropic substances. That's great. You may be someone that needs that kick up the backside like that. But the problem is that once you start on intaking something like that, you have no control over the outcome of it. In Ninja Positive Breathwork, you have control every step, every minute of that experience. You can choose to step out of that, and because it's too intense and too strong, and that is what was so important to me about taking on this breathwork. And then I can't get into it. There's so many elements that came into play here to bring these things together. I can't get into all of them. And then what came along was what's called PQ, Positive Intelligence. It's from the Positive Intelligence Company. And what that does as a tool, as part of my tool set. So it's those three that are my main tool sets. And I'll comment briefly on how they fit together. But what the positive intelligence, and this really is the number one, this is the starting point really. This positive intelligence practice is to start intercepting what's being promoted to us in our daily lives. It's to start intercepting the habits that we have formed in our life, and to give us that tiny briefest moment to start questioning them. And as we start questioning them, and as we start creating this new habit through the positive intelligence, the PQ process, then we create space, and we create space to allow us to breathe. We create space. It's like pushing apart those veils for a little moment, that just let a little glimpse of our holistic blueprint to step through and go, yeah, you're doing okay, but you could do better, and just keep doing it. And we can do that through the PQ process. So that's kind of taking. When I first came across the idea of like personal development and that, back in the 80s, they had affirmations. That was the process. You stick little notes up everywhere. On your fridge, wherever you keep going to, you stick affirmations everywhere. And they were these interceptors that give you that moment in your normal daily routine. You're suddenly recognizing, oh yeah, I did. I need to remember that kind of thing, The PQ process, the PQ practice is like that on steroids. It really... that's probably not right, seeing as I've just been talking about organic and non-substance abuse. But anyway, it's like injecting that process with steroids. It's about, but it's also about having that control over it and stepping into it and setting up the impactful routines and habits that we need to put in place to achieve that overall life vision that we create through the Lifebook process, and allowing us then to step deeper into our connection with our blueprint through the breathwork process that allows us to step beyond those veils through following this process of breathwork and that. So that's kind of how those fit together for me. First of all, we need to interrupt what's happening, because we're so caught up with the fear and stress of the world that we've got to intercept that. Then we've got to know where we're going. Yeah. Yeah, and then we get inspiration from our blueprint, which is the breathwork process. Yeah.
So I want to say indeed, like I also did the Lifebook program almost 2 years ago, and it was one of the life-changing experiences for me because I spent it's a long process. I spent like 6 weeks, 7 weeks every day writing a book, and I ended up writing a 100-page book of what I want to create in my life, and like I printed it even. It's like a 100 pages like thing that now I haven't. I go through it once in a while, and basically it created like lots of clarity, right? Because I think most of the people, like, we go through life without knowing where we're going exactly. But when you spend time planning and envisioning, basically, okay, what is the highest vision I have for myself in this area of my life, and then you go through all these different areas, so it's like really integrated process. Because of course, if you're happy in one area and miserable in all the others, then overall it's not a successful, like, for me, life experience. So we have to strive to be successful and happy, like in all areas of life. And then when you have like this book, like this vision, then it's like way easier to make decisions, right? Because when something comes, you can say, does this take me closer to my life vision? Yes, okay, I do it. And if it's not, then you say, okay, no, thank you, it's not for me. And as it happens, like because you set like an intention which is like very strong, and the intention is that actually I believe that this is possible for me, and then I'm going to commit to actually bringing into reality, then things start changing really quickly. So I had like new jobs manifesting, and like big jumps in income, like within months, like within 3-4 months, and opportunities coming to me without me like actively pursuing them. But because I knew where I was going, things were just coming together. So I think it's like a super powerful tool for someone to have. And indeed, as you say, it's like a tool in our toolbox, right? So like we can do like a lot of things, and I think all of them are like useful and have something to offer. But I think like this clarity of, okay, what are we building in our life, what is our vision and our goal, is super important for everybody. So
Totally.
now I have the question that, okay, if someone goes through a process like that, or they start their own personal development journey, or actively pursuing their life purpose, or they're having this kind of experiences, how important is the integration phase? So after the program is finished, like what people need to do, and what are the important factors in order to have like lasting results?
Yeah, it's such an important question. That integration is more specifically targeted towards breathwork, because breathwork gives the deep connections to, I call it your unveiled self. Many people don't know how to make use of the information that they gain through that connection when they ground themselves back in daily life. They have this incredible message that they're given about what their being and that is about, or what to do next in their life, and then think, how does this fit in what I'm doing right now? And that prevents them from making use of that. So the integration period, and again, the length of time it takes for someone to integrate is very individual and very much specific to the kind of experience that they've had in their blueprint connection. But the integration process, and this is something that we do after a breathwork session, is we work with individuals that need it to really integrate that awareness back into their life, so that they can operate again in this physical reality. Indeed, one of the difficulties that I find myself in is that I know the beauty of this place and existence that we've got, but as a light worker, I just want to go home to where I came from. I don't want to be here. I've come here to do something. Let's just get on with it and do it. I want to go home again. And this is the sort of question that people will arrive at, after a deep connection to their blueprint is, oh my God, it's so beautiful where I came from. Why am I here in this struggle and stress and fear and anxiety and daily trudge? And the integration process is about working with someone to help them to realize how the messages that they've got are here to empower them in the stages and the steps that they next take in their life. And and some people give up. We certainly encourage everyone not to make any major decisions after a breathwork session, because they're in this, they're so highly empowered. I can take on the world, and then suddenly they can make a decision that just destroys the foundation of their life around them. So the integration process is kind of there to help them, usably bring that empowerment back into their daily, every time existence. And weeks or months later, they then may decide to give up their marriage, give up their job, make major changes, whatever it might be. But they've been able to do it in a way that they've had considered involvement in making, rather than we're impulsive beings. We think, yeah, let's do it, and then suddenly we have to deal. That is the substance process of higher connection. It's like, just give me the substance and let me have it, and to hell with life. We don't do that in breathwork. We take a much more considered approach in breathwork and say, we're going to have these awarenesses, but we need to use them effectively as well. So that's what the integration process is all about, and vastly important.
Yeah, and in a way that basically works for the people, and it's not like too destructive. Like I think we want things to go fast sometimes. We want things to move on, and we're like, oh my God, is it let's change already? But we need to find a way to do it in a way that works for everybody, that we don't create unnecessary stress, basically, because I think change is already not the easiest thing, so we need to make sure that it's done in a responsible and like as easy as possible for people.
Totally, yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with immediate change, but it's like the famous quote, was it from Camus or Einstein, that said, if you're going to ask the question, be prepared for the answer.
Yeah.
If you're going to make the change, be prepared for what that change is going to do to you. And most of us are not prepared because we have been conditioned into working within this controlled society. We don't know how to enact our self-individualistic empowerment. So we want to, that's really, there's my role as a life coach then, is to say, yeah, let's do that. That's amazing, but we can do it in a way that doesn't cause you such stress and anxiety, and let's take those empowered steps to doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's really the life coaching element of what I do, is helping people to sort of make those decisions in ways that are effective for them, rather than because they think it's a amazing thing to do.
Yeah. So when someone gets like this big idea, right, or this big thing that they want to achieve or go towards, like do you help them like through this coaching to basically define the path and the steps? Because if it's like a huge jump, usually people cannot go like from the point that they are to the end point. They need like some guidance to make like the small steps towards where they want to go.
There's a number of ways we approach it. Obviously, again, it comes down to where the individual is in their life, how aware they are, how awake they are, what they're prepared to do, and what they're ready to do and able to do. For some, that step is tiny. That step is literally deciding not to make dinner tonight and let my partner make dinner. I'm on my website. A lot of the work that I cover is with codependents, because I was a codependent because of the situations of my life. I was put into a way of life that became codependent. So for a codependent, I can't go and say, right, set these plans and this is for a codependent. Lifebook doesn't work because taking the step of self-empowerment is so alien for a codependent person, because their entire being is connected with someone else that they're giving all of their energy to. To have an idea that is themselves is such an alien concept that, in those instances, it's about working with that codependency and realizing the awareness of that. So it's not so much setting a task, it's that interception process where the PQ sessions are more appropriate, maybe, in becoming aware of where that codependency is showing up. Again, part of my codependency was my introvertedness. If an introvert comes, then we can work with that introvert as an empowered tool to see how that can work for them in their lives. So like all coaching, coaching is forward looking. Therapy is backward looking. Therapy is about digging into what happened in the past. Coaching is about saying, this is where you are. Let's take stock of where you are. Set a vision for where you want to go and work out a process for how to get there. Depending on what coach you have, there's so many. The modality of life coaching is so wide. I'm an ontology coach, which is looking at the meaning of life. So everything that I do is in perspective with the overall meaning of life. So I wouldn't be a business coach, because for me, being better at your profession, unless we can tie it into your life purpose and the meaning of life, I won't be giving you business advice coaching, because I don't want you to be better in business. I want you to be better as a being experiencing this journey. So, you find a coach that is more targeted on that. Yeah.
So what is your mission?
My mission is eat pizza, toast and coffee in the morning. That's it. I have no mission. I didn't set myself the goal of getting where I am. I have a life purpose that I have identified through the work that I've been doing, that is to bring this message of the meaning of life into a conclusive foundation. That's it's not my mission. I don't have a choice about it. It's being done whether I want it or not. So, and I want others to realize their own self-empowerment, to allow them to achieve as much as they can in this life journey as they possibly can. But I can only make the offering out there. I'm happy with not having a mission. That is my, that I can't allow myself to have a mission, because my energy and intuition won't let me have one, because it comes back to the question of Lightworkers. I don't know whether we'll have time to touch briefly on it, but Dolores Cannon, if you're aware of Dolores Cannon, was a medium and discussed a lot about Lightworkers and the fact that there's three phases of volunteers, of Lightworkers. I kind of, because of the time scale that she introduces, fits into the first wave of volunteers that have to put up with really bashing my head against the struggles and introducing the hard things into the world. If I had a mission, it would be to one of the second level of volunteers that don't have to do anything. They just have to walk around and spread their energy. I would love to do that. Give me a couch. Unfortunately, I don't drink beer or watch football, but yeah.
Sounds a more easy existence, or at least a mission that it's more easy to achieve by just being.
The first stage of volunteers just want to go home. They say, "What the hell have I done? And why am I here? This is horrible. Just take me home again." But we're here to be the forerunners and make the hard choices. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Just take me home again. That's my mission, is to go home again.
If you had to give the audience like one piece of advice or one thing they could integrate in their lives in order to go towards this life purpose, what would this be?
The best thing I can say is to start the positive intelligence PQ process. What that program includes is something called PQ reps, positive intelligence reps, like reps in a gym where you work out kind of thing. We have to intercept what's happening with us, because until we intercept what is controlling our decisions, our choices, then we can't self-determine whether or not we're on our life purpose. So whether it's through affirmations or whether it's through the PQ rep system of positive intelligence, which they're literally like 20-second, 10-second reps that if something happens to you in the day, whether it's emotional or physical or whatever it is, you remind yourself to intercept the process. And very simple one is just rubbing your fingers together in a very, very gentle way, and your focus is entirely on the feeling that you get from the touch between those two fingers, your finger and your thumb. And through the intense focus, you'll be able to feel the ridges of your fingerprints on that as they touch one another, so sensitive that we've got there. If that is a rep that you can use to intercept yourself, and the purpose of it is we have these saboteurs within our left brain that want to churn over these events constantly and fight back and self-preserve on that. These intercept moments, because it's both physical and mental, they intercept and interrupt that left brain into focusing on something specific for 10 seconds. So it's not long enough that you get bored and that, but it's enough just to go, oh, right. And it deregulates that emotional response that has been created through your social conditioning that we're all having to live with. Yeah. So that, stick with the PQ rep. Just touch very gently the fingertips together, and just for 10 seconds, that'll do it.
Yeah, that's a good tip, very practical for every day, that people to really come into their center and focus their attention into something small, but it really centers you and brings you back to yourself, I think.
It helps.
Yeah. what ascended light workers means to you?
Oh, wow. It's amazing. Really, again, you've got to look at language. You've got ascended and you've got light workers. We get so used to packaging these together. And yeah, this is what it means. We're told what it means. We've got ascended and we've got light workers. First of all, we're talking about light workers. So, whether you're ascended or not, you're a light worker. Everyone that can connect with their holistic wellness blueprint is a light worker, because they're enlightening the world, the humanity, through their own work, through not repeating the fears and the stresses and the angers and the ideas of oppression. That they are a light worker, and you may just be the second phase light worker. If you're a second wave light worker, you don't have to do anything. You just wander around, go shopping, and you're going to spread light and wonderful energy just around you just by being there. That's what I'd love to be, a second wave light worker, because I wouldn't have to actually do anything. But for the majority of us, we kind of have to put a bit of effort and focus into what we're doing. Third wave is even a very difficult time. So ascended. Do you need more than being a light worker? What is ascended? That's a big topic. There's a lot of discussions in the forums about like 5G existence and ascending to the new Earth. For me, I don't need to ascend anywhere. The Earth is such an amazing, incredible opportunity that the only ascension that I can get from that is to bring that light worker energy back. So we think of ascension as, going above. It's not about going above, it's going within. To ascend is going deeper within and having that deeper effect from within us, that we can all benefit from this light energy that we can share with humanity. And that's how we create the utopia, the new Earth. That's how we create an existence here that allows, if we think of the ascent, I can only think of ascension in terms of the entire planet, the entire species. We can only ascend once we all have the level of empowerment, the level of light worker sharing energy to allow us to throw off all of the negative. See, I can't use the word negative. All of the lower vibrational aspects of this existence that we are now having to experience. We can remove those lower vibrations and we can ascend into a higher vibrational awareness. We'll still be here on Earth with everyone else, but where we're taking Earth and where we're taking humanity, it's going to be so. We'll bring back magic. Bring back magic. We'll have so many magical superpowers that we have control over once we've all ascended. It's going to be amazing, but far beyond my time. Is not part of my journey here.
I love this answer that you gave, because I think it comes like really close to my definition, because I also believe that ascending is not going up, it's going within, to get really in touch with who we are as people, like the truest version of ourselves, and then basically embodying that. So going through life free from any burdens or any conditions, and just embody like this authentic highest version of ourselves in our everyday life. And for me, I think this is something very achievable for everyone in the here and now. So if someone is connected with this higher version of themselves, and they bring it on in their life, and they live from this consciousness, then for me that's what this word means. Or yeah, this is it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So, Dave, I want to thank you very much for coming and having this discussion today, and for being a member of the Ascended Lightworkers platform, and for helping people with your offerings and this collection of tools you put together. Yeah, I really appreciate you for everything that you do, and for really devoting your life into helping others, finding their life purpose, finding the meaning of life, and translating these like really big concepts into like everyday tools and practices that actually people can take with them in order to be empowered in their own journey. So you can find Dave on the Ascended Lightworkers platform. I will put a link below, so you can go there and work with Dave in one of the positive breathwork session, in life coaching, and in the Lifebook program or the PQ brain training program. And if you like this discussion like that, and you're interested in spiritual topics or getting tools and practices from Lightworkers, you can subscribe to this channel so you don't miss our next episodes. Dave, thank you so much for coming, and till the next time, my friends, keep spreading your light.
Namaste, everyone.